not long ago, when it was safe to chastise your government.
Chastise the government.
The opposition leaders shared the respect of the Prime Minister and President. Now we have a tyrannical democracy where misplaced priority creates abject poverty. To oppose government policy is living dangerously. So now truth is a sin, and lies and deception are the virtues now trending. If I say the government in my land don't care for the local man, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say my green Dominica has been bequeathed to Red China, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say Parliament has become a comedy competition, I'm a wanted man. Wanted for speaking truth, wanted for caring about the youth, wanted for wanting fairness in my land. So I'd much rather be a wanted man than to be a yes man to a godless, corrupt politician. Bounty hunters and character assassins on the radio. Never before have we ever seen a little money make Jumbie dance so. Men of faith selling away their blessings. Parents trading the future of their children. Fortune spent to persecute the innocent. Elimination of opposition and foreign investment. That's politics in these times. If I say law enforcement is blind to the real criminals in these times, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say the businessmen of this land are afraid of one man, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth, simple truth. If I say that one man fools most of the people all the time, I'm a wanted man. Wanted for speaking truth, wanted for caring about the youth, wanted for wanting fairness in my land. So I'd much rather be a wanted man and keep my soul free from the soul snatcher's hands. One man is an easy target, but I'm just one of my brothers who they don't know. Seeds of righteousness, when they're buried, they don't die, they just grow and grow. They taught us when we see wrong, we should take a stand. Evil thrives only when good people are silent. A man who hates opposition is a danger to all men. But the preachers and teachers of yesterday are looking the other way.
And good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Pity Martinique.
Pastors and priests in this land are hypocrites. I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say 2 decades we've been lost and things are getting worse, I'm a wanted man.
Yeah, I was hearing something extra inside here. I was wondering where it was coming from.
Today's school children are growing in violence.
I have found the violating machine and I've sorted the problem out. A good night to you again, Grenada, Carriacou, Pity Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, wherever you're listening locally, regionally, and internationally. My name is Sheldon Scott, and of course, I am here with you up until 10 o'clock. It is Talking Points, and we'll be getting into it, yeah. We've got a guest on for a while with us tonight. Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell will be on with us tonight. Former Prime Minister, former leader of His Majesty's opposition, a former political leader of the New National Party. They call him the 9-time champion. Bring up people from all places calling them 6-star general. He is the 9-star general. Yeah. 9-star general. You understand? Right now, you run out of space on the shoulder board and them kind of thing. You understand? So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Talking Points is on.
In this modern time, God gave us a gift. We pray and we cranium. Still He gave us.
Just making sure everything is in order. Yeah, you know. I was kind of tardy in getting to the studio tonight. Yeah. Again, thank you, Brother Ali. Yeah, you helped out our brother tonight, man.
They prayed, living in the dust, because they would see it on the name of a brother with malice intention, when instead they could be uplifting a sister for life progression. It is so hard now when a man turn a big man and still didn't grow. But the reason they procrastinate and gossip is because their mind is poor. So I say, poor mind will gossip. Illiteracy, simple mind, talk about places that they could never be. Ordinary mind, talk about events and personalities, but wouldn't mind speak about ideas. A great mind speaks philosophy. The mind is such a spiritual force, will make you do what's right. And for sure, my friends, you are in control, so there's no reason to fight. I know you heard this before. Life is how you make it, so be honorable. Now when you sit in a state of idleness, not making your mind simple. Now all you should know, your mind is the center of your universe. A bad thing to waste. Yes, man, in all different sizes, and in your head it was placed to uplift and elevate those around me with tremendous grace. Positive is always the way to go. I want to please stay away from his, because I say poor mind will gossip. Illiteracy, simple mind, talk about places that they could never be. Ordinary mind, speak about events and personalities, but wouldn't mind speak about ideas. A great mind speaks philosophy. Instead of vision, a lot of people live in dreams and love to expatiate. They love to talk about man-made creation, so their life is on weight. Most of their thoughts is based on fiction and not reality. So I wrote this song to let them know they must change their mentality. You spend all your time with your mind being canal and does not have a clue, creating a
That's just making sure everything is well organized.
One day be great. That is why
Come on, folks, I find I see all you hitting that like button enough, you know. Yeah.
we need something.
No, don't hit it twice. You go take back the like, yeah.
I will get up and
Good night to all of you under the YouTube. Good night to all of you under the Facebook. All of you joining us via We Noise Radio. We say a special good night to you, Wade.
if artists use their mind, there would be more focus, knowledge and understanding. And in order for us to make progress, we have to stop bickering.
And we'll be joined roughly at about 8:30 by Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, yeah?
But you could bring a horse to the water hole, but you can't force the horse to drink. So I say, poor mind will gossip. Illiteracy, simple mind, talk about places that they could never be. Ordinary mind, talk about events and personalities. But good mind, speak about ideas. A great mind speaks philosophy. Education is the key to success. I want you to understand that the most important part of education is academics. Yes, man. Whoa. Calling upon parents and guardians, send your children to school. Cause a good education in this life would be their greatest tool. Respect to the elders and the teachers and those.
So let me see who is on the YouTube tonight. I see Gemma Warwood, Alban Harris, Gavin Thomas, Maria Marcel, Phyllis Mitchell, Vanessa Lalji, Kathleen Ledlow, Errol Bonaparte, Francis George, Velma Pascal, good night to you, Agnes Henry, Maud Martin, Janice Mitchell, Bernadette Joseph, yeah, Anna Lois, what's up? Teresa Joseph, Ruth Chitterman, Ruth, how are you? Carb Spice Fitness, Rosalind Jones, Joyce Lewis, Sherma Jeremiah, good night to you, and good night to the lovely Zayla.
You must excel.
Zezedor, your uncle ain't forget you. Christine Alexander, Anastasia Buckmeyer, Earl Benjamin, April Fletcher, Christine Otley, Patsy Frank, Andra Burke, Jerome Lewis, Clive Raymond, yeah, see you there, man. Yeah, Norma Felix, Cicely Celestine, Anastasia Peterson, Kathleen Knights, Hillary Joseph, Cindy Thomas, Sky, Marilyn Ferguson, Art Willie, I am, Stephanie John, good night to you on the home circle, Dennis Sandy, Agatha Williams, Alcy Peters, Gillian Patterson, Michelle Alexander, Jackie Raymond, Thor St. John, I hope I've pronounced your name properly and haven't murdered it, yeah? Shirley and James, Connie Tompkin, Miss Tompkin, how you doing? Chris London, yeah. Love Chris, you know. Chris is always there fighting up, yeah? Good life. Beavis, good night. Oh, I'll sort that out, eh? Yeah. Sheldon Sylvester, Moko Joseph, Moko Ben. Rodney Barry, yeah. I see Stories of the Gods, yeah. That's a name, boy. Sharon Felix, yeah. Antonito, Judy Francis, Casimir Thomas Pastor. Hope everything is okay.
What you need, raise your self-esteem, and just like Dr. Martin
JG, Jacket Man, Pamela Hackett, Red Girl Pascal, Shirley Lambert, Tati, Angel Mac, good night to you. Jacinta Livingston, my love, how are you?
People just might end up a fool, but that must not give you the rights to think.
And Marilyn Ferguson, Laslyn Douglas, Betty Ann Ventor, yeah. Jillian Julian, Enid Decoto,
Like
Latoya Maguire, Shirley Lacrette, Shemi.
academic.
No, Shemi, I go on there. Maudlin Bartholomew, Junior George, Winnie Simon, Rhonda George, Nesta Sinclair. Who put the, hey, if you put the Bluetooth speaker outside yet for the neighbor to hear, put it outside now, eh? Nice, right, yeah.
Make you sit inside a
Yvonne Courtney,
education.
Diamond Gill,
Get some
Lynn Joseph, Sherbs Houston, Rebecca Stafford, McLean Mitchell, Esther Peter, Samantha Day, Joan Henry, Ingrid Bourne, I see you, Elizabeth Douglas, Teresa Collymore, Cynthia Collins, Nurse Practitioner Wendy Ann Maguire, good night to you, Meryl George, Etta Batiste, Errol Bonaparte, Teresa Gill, Cynthia B,
just like Nelson Mandela. Education.
meditation is what you must.
So good night to each and every one of you as we get ready to begin tonight.
A country just like Owen Arthur. Let me tell you about a project that is called the CSME. It's about qualified foreigners coming and working in your country. So I tell you it is.
So let me give you all some reminders there. Remember, I'm going to remind you all until I hear that that child is gone to where they have to go to get the treatment. Right? That's 2-year-old Kelvin Warren Thomas. He needs your help. 2-year-old Kelvin Warren Thomas from Moya St. Andrew urgently needs your support for leukemia treatment. Your donation can help make a significant difference in his fight for health and his life. Yeah? Please help us provide him with the care he needs. You could contact his parents on 420-43-14535-2110. Donate via Dropbox at Cashways or donate via bank or online at via GoToFet. You see the GoToFet link there. Yeah, you just scan that and it will take you to where you are to, you understand, you could pay and thing using your debit card or your credit card. You could pay on GoToFet. And don't worry, it's a safe platform. You could use it and thing. Right. Donate via the bank at 321-005987. So you could donate directly at Corp Bank account number 321-005987 in the name of Weslyn Natoya Warren. All right, folks. So remember, young Kelvin needs your help. All right, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. You could be the opposition leader, just like Tillman Thomas. Good meditation you need to have.
Remember the St. Patrick East branch of the New National Party. They've got the barbecue luncheon, and that's coming up on the 29th of March. It's coming up sooner. Yeah, 2025 at the River Sally Hard Court. You believe that, boy? March heading to down to the... Yeah. It's taking place at the River Sally Hard Court on the 29th of March, starting at midday. They've got barbecue chicken, barbecue pork, and grilled fish. All meals come with selected slides, potato, salad, chow mein, or rice and peas. And of course, they say the bar going to send it by Dr. Julie Dubois because it's going to freeze your teeth, edge your teeth, and you go think something wrong with your teeth, but nothing wrong with your teeth. You just get some nice cold drinks. All right, so contact them for more details on 533-8797 and 415-8008. All right, yeah, you could contact them for some more details. They have tickets ready and thing. Those stick. Next thing you get left and you don't get it. Yeah, next thing you don't get a piece of barbecue pork and thing you're planning on. All now you're dreaming about that barbecue pork and thing and you don't get The New National Party New York Support Group, they've got the brunch, and that's taking place on Sunday, April 27, 2025. And of course, it starts at 10 a.m. until you say when. West Indian food, music, dance, meet, and mingle. It's taking place at 302 East 91st Street between Lennox and Clarkson Avenue for a small donation of only $30. Music by DJs Jude and DJs Small Clothes, all right? And of course, for tickets, tickets you can call Kathy on 347-262-6818, Wendy at 917-602-1476, and Aisha at 917-523164. All right, yes, so you could call, you could organize, and you could get your thing there. And there's one more that I had somewhere. Yes, there's one more that I want to add to this, and that is this one. It is the New National Party Carriacou and Petit Martinique New York chapter, and they've got their spring brunch, and that's taking place on Sunday, April 13th, 2025, and it starts at 1 p.m. until you say when. So that's taking place there, same place, 302 East 91st Street between Lennox and Clarkson. Music by DJ Gemini Sounds, and price as well, $30. So watch, those are all up there. You have to save a little, save a little 60 at the end of this month, because on the 13th, we're supporting Carriacou and Petit Martinique New National Party branch. We cannot have anybody that cussing police officers down here and then come in and boast they cuss police officers remaining in parliament. We need to put good, decent people in parliament. We can't have fellas and them who just be talking about pinky and all them kind of thing and who bring shit and all. We can't have them kind of thing. Can't have fellas who cussing police and cussing teacher, cussing this one and cussing out. No. That's not the kind of people so to represent Carriacou. You got to get rid of them. Yeah? Nice. So price of the tickets, $30. Fried fish, chicken, pork, cuckoo roll, rice, macaroni pie, and more Sriracha style. All right? So for tickets for this one, you contact Jacinta at 917-615-4918 Wilson. at 917-754-1319. Nisha at 347-683-1997. And Carlos at 718-813-6722. All right, so you could contact them for the tickets and so you have one on the, let me just make sure the date here. Yes, you have one on April the 13th and you have the next one on April the 27th. All right, so 2 activities coming up there, the New National Party New York support group, and you also have the Carriacou and Petit Martinique branch of the New National Party support group in New York. They are having their brunch as well, $30. You understand? Yeah, set up nice and make sure that you all go out to both of the activities. They go to both of them. You need the support. All right, nice. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, let the rain fall. Place kind of hot and thing. A little bit of rainfall and them kind of thing. You understand? Yeah, now I find the numbers start to look like we're supposed to look like. You know, you're coming in late tonight, man. And folks, let me state clearly here before I go into the interview and all of that. I think that as Grenadians, all of us need to call on the Prime Minister of this country to make an apology to the Honorable Emlyn Pear and all the members on the New National Party team who protested the incorrect actions, the illegal actions of the Speaker during the last sitting. The Prime Minister out of order and fast to refer, I'm not going to repeat what he said, but to go and refer to the Honorable Leader of His Majesty's opposition in that form. Every single person who was sitting on the opposition side has in each individual, without putting all of them together, every one of them have done 50 times more than not just the Prime Minister, but the whole side across there. If you put all of them together, each person there has done 50 times more than the entire grouping for Grenada. When you speak about Honorable Emlyn Pear and all of the activities that she has been involved in from being a young person, a young lady, to the point that she's at right now, and she's still a young lady. All that she has done, the numerous thousands of young lives that she has positively impacted over the years, whether it be through the Ministry of Education or through the Ministry of Youth or as a teacher or as a member of various service-oriented organizations or through the church organizations or other community organizations that she has been involved in. The Prime Minister can't tell you one organization, probably outside of the Bar Association, if he even is a member. But I think he's a member by virtue of being a lawyer, I don't know. But he can't tell you about any organization that he was involved in. Anybody come tell us which organizations were he involved in? What has he ever done before becoming Prime Minister? Look at the rest of the team. You have who served in public service. Yes, you have a couple who serve in the public service and that sort of thing. Many of us serve in the public service. But outside of that, if you're speaking about Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, if you take a sponge ball, don't take a cricket one, you might hit somebody in the head. Take a sponge ball and throw it in any direction in Grenada, you're hitting at least 3 projects that Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell did. Any direction you throw that ball, you're hitting at least 3 projects that Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell did in any direction that he was directly involved, be it the electrification of vast sections of this country, or making sure that water, pipe-borne water, was brought to various parts of this country, or the technology, because it was he and the Honorable Gregory Bowen that went up to St. Kitts. And I showed you all that one night here, and I'm going to show it again soon. When they went to St. Kitts to break the back of the monopoly that Cable and Wireless had on telecommunications in the Caribbean. That's how other companies could have entered. That is how we could have gotten the new technology to come in. Because if one man had the monopoly and all kind of thing, they ain't bothering with you. When they feel to bring something, they bring it, but they know you don't have a choice. You want mobile service, you have to take it from them. You want internet, you have to take it from them. Anything you want, you have to take it from them. So it was the Honorable Dr. Mitchell and the Honorable Gregory Bowen. We could call him Dr. Bowen too, you know? Yeah. Honorable Gregory Bowen that went and break the monopoly on telecommunications, not just in Grenada, in the region. That is why back in about the year 2010, they were called by Ectel and awarded for the work that they did in ensuring that the same internet, and that is why from now on I will start to call it Keith Mitchell Internet. Yeah, I will call it that. The same internet that a lot of them does use to try and show word for man and all kind of thing is the same Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell that ensured that they had this high-speed internet and so on, access it right now. And instead of using it to educate themselves, they're using it to obfuscate issues and make idiots of themselves. You have to send some of them to the dictionary sometime. Yeah? So I'm still trying to figure out what some of them who sit in parliament and when people go in, what they ever do for the country? What have they ever done for the country? Who's standing up and calling people names in the parliament of this country? Up to now, what have they ever done for the country? You're completing NNP projects, right? What have you ever done for the country? But anyway, we won't get back to those things. Let me, in a short while, I have to get Dr. Mitchell on, so let me start organizing to get that done. But I think it is necessary for all of us, on whatever opportunity, we should offer our concern. Because see, if the Prime Minister of this country, quote unquote Prime Minister, because I have a feeling strings pulling on you. But anyway, if the Prime Minister of this country can stay in the highest place in this land, the Parliament of the country, and make such derogatory statements about people like the Honorable Emlyn Pierre, leader of His Majesty's opposition, former Prime Minister, 9-star General, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, the Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis Peters, who has done remarkable work in shaping the minds of our young ladies as an educator over the years and has been deeply involved in sports and community activities in the St. Andrew area, not when she come in politics, but for many years before that. And she's still young, so she's doing it since she's a child. And then you talk about the mother of the house, Dr. the Honorable Clarice Modest, who has worked tirelessly for the people of St. Mark, which is why she should be a 6-star general now, 6 or a 5-star general. We had to check that one, you know. Only tell me how much she's a general too, you know. We had to check how much star she have on she shoulder now. Yeah. But has served not just the people of St. Mark, but the people of Grenada with distinction over the years. If the Prime Minister could watch these people who have achieved so much and done so much for this country and refer to them in such a derogatory term when he ain't do a damn thing yet, if he can do that to them, brothers and sisters, who is you? Brothers and sisters, who is you? Yeah? You only know it does go sometime. Sometime I had to take a call, you know. No, don't call on the phone lines yet. I need the phone lines clear because I had to make sure, I had to go and get my guest on and that kind of thing. Yeah, I had to get my guest on And today's what? Today's the 13th of March, you know. Yeah, today's the 13th of March. What happened on this day? 1979 revolution. 1990 general election. 2018 generally. Yes, a day. A lot of things that's happened on this day. A lot of things that take place on this day in Grenadian history. You know what? Let's try to get Dr. Mitchell here. Let's try to get Dr. Mitchell on.
DJ Sierra, boy, I want you. This is the last time I fit in that speaker for you.
Good evening.
Good. Yes, folks, and we have on the air with us Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell, how are you doing, sir?
Doing fine. And how are you?
I am quite fine myself, and I know the listeners are more than happy to have you on with us. We just sorry we can't have you on via camera tonight because they like to see you, you know. they love to see you. But we just can't do it tonight. We can't do it tonight.
Yeah, well, we understand this, but I'm very happy to be on. And it's sometime now I have not been on the program, so I'm very, very happy to be on tonight. And therefore, I look forward to engaging you on the program this evening.
Yes, indeed. And I see all the likes coming in, and I see all the folks jumping in on the live right now because they know that Dr. Mitchell is on. Dr. Mitchell, just before you came on, I was mentioning that today is a very significant day in Grenadian history, the 1979 revolution, for instance. And I was sort of wondering your perspective on the 1979 revolution and in line with some of what we see going on now, because I see a lot of people trying to model themselves in what is supposed to be a fully democratic system, the Westminster system, fully democratic system. I see a lot of people trying to model themselves into what was taking place between 1979 and 1983. What are your views on what took place then and what you're seeing taking place now?
Well, first of all, Sheldon, I think we have to be fair when we're looking at the history of our country. And sometimes we look at it from a political bias. But for our children's sake and the future of this country, we have to see what is right and what is perceived to be not right. It doesn't matter the individual personalities or the political organization involved. The fact is, a legitimate government that was elected by the people of the country was violently overthrown in 1979, and you cannot you can't wash this. It's a fact, and therefore we ought not to be emulating the 1979 activity. It doesn't matter what you felt about Gary at the time, and there were many mixed views in the country. But the fact is, there was election occurring in the country. It cannot be said that Gary was stealing elections, and therefore we should have waited an opportunity to beat him in a general election. And therefore we cannot wash this. And therefore it's important for me or anyone else to call a spade of what it actually is. Now, the fact is, what you see going on in the country, for example, I see this government a lot of time speaking highly about the revolution and the revolution in as if it was a very positive event. You cannot glorify this action. And I see the behavior of what is in Parliament in the country at this time is an attempt to behave as if this perception of one-manism rule and the ultimate leader and the maximum leader must prevail, that anything you do is right because your position is prime minister and so on, which is fundamentally flawed. So I have a difficulty with what is taking place in the parliament of the country at this time, and also have a difficulty for anyone attempting to glorify what 1979 was. I would not be part of this. I knew Maurice Bishop very well, and some of the people who were talking about Maurice Bishop don't know Maurice Bishop. I worked with Morris Bishop. I was involved in activities then, but I cannot say that everything he did, I can emulate it and pretend that it was absolutely correct. So I want to be very clear about this, about what our country's history is all about and what the positions that was taken then and what it means today. That is my position, and to answer to your first question.
Dr. Mitchell, there's a school of thought that the present administration seems not to respect institutions, whether it be the parliament of the country procedurally, whether it be the procedure within the government system itself in relation to getting things done, whether it be statutory, but whatever it is, there seems to be no respect for institutions. Is this does this indicate a sort of parallel with what was taking place during the revolutionary period when it came to institutions, and we need to destroy that, or we need to ignore that, or we just need to disrespect that?
Well, as I said before, if something is right, it's right. It doesn't matter who is doing it, and if it's wrong, it is wrong. There is an element that I see prevailing in the country today, particularly with the present leadership of the country, that they can do anything just because they are in office. And I think that's something I have a difficulty with. And my own concern is that I remember when we were in government, in the best of times, we had a lot of independent voices speaking out against what they perceive to be not correct. But I'm not hearing those voices today. And I wonder why those voices seem to be locked today, when in fact it calls for some of the things that I see occurring, calls for people taking positions in the interest of what is right to the country and what is right for the future of this country of ours. And I have a difficulty with this. And if you want me to go into what, for example, the whole situation of Parliament, I have submitted over 20 odd questions to the Parliament and to the Speaker and of the House of Parliament through the clock since 2022, 2023. Over 25 questions have been submitted, and they just have not answered them and even refused to put them in the order paper. The Speaker is deciding that I shouldn't ask a certain question. I don't know who is giving him that right, but he assumed that position because maybe his boss, the Prime Minister, is refusing and of clearly directing him that this question must go on the other paper. So I wonder, I've not seen this in my 40 odd years in Parliament. I have not seen that level of behavior, and it seemed to be condoned. And I've spoken out about it, but I don't hear the voices giving support to this. You have a right to answer questions as it relates to the governance of the country. And you can't arbitrarily refuse to answer questions, and no one is saying a word. I find extremely frightening. It seemed to me that the Speaker of the House of Representatives seemed to believe that he has a job given to him by the Prime Minister, and that anything the Prime Minister tells him, he has to do it. And a case in point is what happened in Parliament last Tuesday. Mm-hmm. No. The budget of the country was presented by the Minister of Finance. I have my views on the Minister of Finance performance. I have my views on the budget that was presented. But the fact is, he presented the estimates of revenue and expenditure to the country as the budget of the country. Debate was proceeded on the budget. Our leader, Honorable Eminent Pierre, did an excellent job in responding to the budget, and she got tremendous acclaim right around the country, and friends who have called me who did not know her and complimented her on her presentation. And debate ensued throughout for the Monday and Tuesday. Now, when Sister Clarice Modeste, Honorable Clarice Modeste, presented her response to the budget at the Parliament, she was the last person in the Parliament at the sitting of the parliament, before who were able to respond. She was the last person. Both myself and the Prime Minister of the country, Dick Mitchell, who was expected to be the next person to speak, was not in the chamber. So the presenter of the motion, that the Minister of Finance, correctly got up and decided to close the debate, and the speaker recognized him. This is everyone understand that occurred. So since that happened, it means that no one else could speak on the motion. That is because no one was up in the chamber at the time to respond to the budget debate. And therefore, the Minister of Finance correctly, the Speaker, for one reason or the other, proceeded to ask him to report to his table. And apparently was telling him, implied to him, that's what I understood, that the Prime Minister wants to reply. No, if the Prime Minister wants to reply, he has to be in the chamber. That is the order of business. That's how it operates. The Parliament does not recognize Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, Dick Mitchell, is the representative of St. David's. I am the representative of Northwest St. George's. I am the Prime Minister. I was the Prime Minister of the country for 23 years. But that does not give me the right to be not in the chamber and to be given an opportunity to come to the chamber and have the speaker of the mover of the motion concluded the motion, have him to sit down, and I then take over and decide to respond to his estimate. So to the budget debate. So I don't know who gave the speaker the right to do something like this. And then proceeded, I understood, that he asked the Prime Minister to come and therefore to the budget. The Prime Minister then proceeded to come into the chamber. I have heard all sorts of statements made by all kinds of persons, that some of them that never believed in the parliamentary system. Some of them only came in lately, and I was one who gave some people the opportunity to come into Parliament. I understand that they're claiming that I don't know the rules, but the rules of the Parliament is clear. The Minister of Finance got up and was responding and concluded the motion. Therefore, I did not see how I could come and demand to speak. And my issue was, the minister should have been allowed to conclude the debate. So I don't know where all these statements about lack of decorum and lack of understanding of Parliament by people who never believe in the parliamentary system of the country, who was part of attempting to overthrow a legitimately elected government in 1979, and talking about not understanding the parliamentary rules. I challenge any one of them to come to let us talk about the parliamentary system and who was part of the parliamentary procedure since how much, as opposed to those who were part of a system to overthrow the elected parliamentary government of the country. So I cannot understand this, but I am clear that the speaker was out of order and he had no such power, and the Prime Minister had no such authority to come to Parliament and demanded that he's closing the budget debate, when in fact the minister who decided that he is the one closing has decided and was in fact concluding the debate. I don't understand where all these statements are coming from, because to me this is so clear. So there is no, as far as I'm concerned, I cannot, under the opposition leader who led the walkout of all members of the opposition when this nonsense was taking place, was absolutely correct. So I am clear on this, and I hope and pray that we do not see a repeat of this in the parliament of the country. So that is my position, and that's why I'm so clear that the opposition is absolutely correct in the position they took. And it seems like the Prime Minister believes he's the Prime Minister of Parliament. He's not the Prime Minister of the Parliament. In fact, if there's a prime minister of parliament, it's supposed to be the speaker who's in charge of the house of the parliament, the lower house. And therefore, this is my problem, that the speaker has abdicated his responsibility to be an umpire, and the prime minister, with his arrogance and his maximum leadership style, has decided that he is the boss. And he decided that to hell with his minister of finance. And he's closing the debate, and not his minister, who was quite prepared and was willing and was asked to sit down by the Speaker of the House. So that is my position, Sheldon, and I just want to be clear that no one would feel that we have done something wrong. And I want to give a tremendous credit to the leader of the opposition for her response to the budget, the professional way, the level of technical analysis that's so done relative to that budget, which was a total disaster for the country. And I intend to use the forum to give my presentation that I would have given, to decipher, to analyze, and to be seriously critical, to be a critic of what was presented for budget in the country, with this disaster fiscal policy that the government is implementing in the country at this time. And that we expect to do shortly.
Yes. So, Dr. Mitchell, I just want to clarify something here. I know I heard it from you. One, at no point in time did you make the statement that you still wanted to speak. The point that you were making... I
never said that. In fact, I should not have been asked to speak after the Minister of Finance got up and decided to close the debate. But what I did say, that if the Prime Minister is being allowed to come in after and ask the minister to sit down, and he decided he was going to speak, then I then should have the opportunity to speak. That's the only thing that happened there. But that would have to be a compromise between the Minister of Finance, the Prime Minister, and the Speaker. And if that was allowed, then that's okay. But the Prime Minister decided that his minister will not be allowed to close, and he will not be asked to sit down as proposed and asked to do so by the Speaker. And then he came in and said that he's using his position as Prime Minister. Quite fascinating.
And that's what I just wanted to clarify.
And close the debate. And then he ordered and said, that's what I understood, that he said he's calling on me and he's giving me 2 minutes to come to the Parliament to come and speak. So he's ordering me as his little child to come. This is a gentleman that just come just 2.5 years in Parliament. I've spent 41 years, almost 41 years in the Parliament. And this is a man is ordering me, not the Speaker ordering me, the Prime Minister, who spent just 2 years plus, and 2.5 years plus in Parliament, is ordering the Father of the House to come in and order him like a little child to come in and speak. And if he doesn't come in 2 minutes, he's going to close the debate. Quite fascinating. That is the behavior, and that is the arrogance that we have seen displayed in the House, the lack of respect for the rules, the lack of respect for the historical performance of Parliament. And those who want to, some people, they speak, and when they speak, it's about their political position. Some views I heard expressed by certain persons, if their friends were still a member of the NNP government, they would have been saying something completely different. It's all about politics. It's not about honesty and not about analysis and understanding of the parliamentary system. Because they never adhere to it in the first place. So I don't know how they become experts on the parliamentary system, which they did not believe in years ago.
Yes, indeed. And folks, we're speaking here with former Prime Minister, a former political leader of the New National Party, and the 9-star General, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. And we're just getting some insight in relation to what took place. And indeed, Dr. Mitchell, and I think a lot of folks who are viewing via television or listening via radio, viewing via the internet, they don't pick up the individual nuances of what is taking place within the chamber and the behavior of others on the other side. Now, I listen very carefully because, of course, I deal with music, radio, etc. I listen and I can hear some of the statements being thrown across from the other side. the teasing and the taunting. And having been a person in Parliament myself for a period of time, I've never seen that type of behavior before.
No,
Never seen
the
that type of
Parliament
behavior.
level, Sheldon, the Parliament level have been reduced with the groups of personnel in Parliament. No, I'm not going to say all the members of the government side. There are two, three members there. I have never seen them act in a way inconsistent. I may not agree with the position and statements that they have made in the Parliament of the country. I wouldn't name them. I think they know who they are. And I don't know that they have agreed with my position on the issues themselves, but I think there's mutual respect. But there are some people in the Parliament of the country that are elected, and honestly, the decorum, the behavior is so low, it reduces the Parliament to a joke. You know, and I think people know who they are. Some people are just for the first time has been seen the House of the Parliament of the country, and they are getting up there and behaving like little children, and it's a bit very nerving for me that to watch the Parliament of the country reduced to that level, and it's very worrying, and it's hard for me to sit in the Parliament of the country with a level of debate and the kind of umpiring as presided by the Speaker of the House, who seemed to believe that the Prime Minister has given him a job, and anything the Prime Minister tells him to do, he should do it. I believe the present speaker is an insult to the Parliament of the country, and if he has any conscience, he should resign and let someone else who has respect for the job of Speaker of the House take this position. I'm really clear on this. So I think a combination of the immaturity of many of the members on the other side, the arrogance of the Prime Minister himself, and the lack of understanding of the job of Speaker.
Hello?
Feeling about the Parliament of the country at this particular time.
Yes, indeed. Doc, we lost you for a second, but I think we got the general of what you were saying there in relation to the activities of the Speaker, because having been a person that had been following Parliament from the 1990s myself, and knowing the quality of persons who have held that position as Speaker of the House of Representatives, and even prior to that, and to see what it has devolved into right now, from it's sad. It's really, really sad to see what it has gone to now.
Sheldon, I could go back. The Hudson Scipio was Speaker of the House of Representatives, and everyone knows that his level of professionalism and understanding of the rules were quite obviously evident in his term. Then we had Marcel Peters, who was, when I was in opposition as Speaker, we had our disagreements, but we never saw that level of stuff. We had George Maguire as Speaker, and I had strong disagreement with George Maguire during this period, but I could never say he was unprofessional in his approach to the job that he was doing. You had Larry Joseph. You had also a Speaker of the House. You have Honorable Michael Pear was Speaker, and they all conducted themselves professionally. You think I, as Prime Minister, could have done what I saw the present Prime Minister did in Parliament, and literally took over the job of Speaker by demanding that he is going to close, not the Speaker deciding that he is going to close. If I came into Parliament and did that, Michael Pear or anyone, Laurie Joseph would have said, Prime Minister, would you have your seat? And they wouldn't do it in an arrogant, disrespectful way, but they would make sure that I have heard them clearly. And that will not be an attempt to go against the Prime Minister of the country, because I'm not Prime Minister in the Parliament. I'm the Prime Minister of the country, yes, but I'm a member of St. George's Northwest, represented the people of Northwest St. George's, and they would have given me the respect, George Maguire and all of them. And so I think this is the worst representation of speakership that I have seen in 40 years in Parliament. And it's the worst I've seen a Prime Minister behave in over 40 odd years in the Parliament of the country. So we have some, and then we have some members of Parliament, it's almost laughable to see the kind of mentality that I see in display. As I said, and I always want to repeat that, Sheldon, there are 2 or 3 members on the other side that I do have respect for. I don't necessarily agree with them on their positions that they take, but I have some respect for their how they conduct themselves and how they behave in the Parliament of the country. So I'm not saying all the members on the other side, but certainly there are few. There's some on that side, and I would say maybe the majority. I think there are some serious concern with the lack of understanding of the role of their role. And they talk out of terms. I sat in Parliament and heard a member of Parliament stoops in, loud stoops, when I'm speaking in the House. I've heard a member of Parliament say, while I'm speaking, shut up. I've heard that. That's the kind of behavior that I have seen in the Parliament of the country. And it's very difficult for me, who have been there for all these years, to watch and see what is taking place in the country at this particular time. So I will continue to do what we're doing, but I want to continue to say that the 4 members on the other side, that's Honorable Clarence Modest, Honorable Kate Lewis, and in particular, the leader of the opposition, has conducted themselves professionally and a level that I think the country should be proud. And I am certainly, as father of the house, who've been there for 40 years, I'm proud of the level of performance of these members that I've seen in the House at this particular time.
And indeed, and I think, for instance, Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis Peters, she was very, very expressive. She went deep into the various aspects of the 2025 budget, and the whole team was just excellent with their presentations. And I'm hoping that we can hear some more from the team over the next couple of weeks in relation to various aspects of the budget and so on. And in particular from yourself, I believe there's an activity that would be coming up soon. We will be giving some more information in relation to that. I don't know if it's finalized yet, but I know that something is coming up.
It should be close to being finalized. I will be doing my presentation of what I would be my analysis of the budget by the country, knowing that my years of experience in as Minister of Finance in several years and Prime Minister, and of course as a Member of Parliament for over 40 years, I certainly have done. This is the first time in 40 years that I have not spoken on a budget in the House of Parliament of the country, and I'm not blaming. I'm not saying that is all the government fault, and I am not going to say this. I'm saying that the Speaker is the one that have in fact performed his job unprofessionally, so that finance should have been allowed to conclude the debate. And we, both myself and Dick Mitchell, should not have been allowed to speak on the debate, on the budget debate, if we are not in the chamber. And if the minister had got up and concluded his debate, no one should have stopped him. There was no parliamentary law that says that the speaker had a right to stop the minister and tell him that somebody else wanted to come into the chamber to speak. That was fundamentally wrong. And I want to repeat, Sheldon, the issue is not, I heard it said that I should have asked to speak. I never said that. I never asked for that, and I never would have asked for this. I felt we were not in the chamber, and therefore the Speaker should have allowed the Minister of Finance to conclude the debate. Will do so to spend a time doing the analysis and informing the public and the population through a specific forum of how I see the 2025 budget and my own analysis of it. So I'm not only concerned about the rules of the House being kept, And those who are talking about, I don't know the rules, they themselves do not know what they're talking about. That's what I want to say.
Yes, indeed. And Dr. Mitchell, I know you're only on with us for a short while tonight, so I want to maximize the opportunity that we have.
Okay.
There's another question I want to ask you about. We heard some statements from the Prime Minister. Now, we know in the budget of 2024 that was read in December of 2023, a constituency allowance, among other things, was put in place for parliamentarians, a $10,000 constituency allowance. We heard from the Prime Minister
monthly.
First. Monthly.
Yes.
Now we're hearing from the Prime Minister that he's complaining that, number one, he ain't getting it. And then in the same breath that he's complaining that he's not getting it, he's saying that he refuses to abide by the rules that have been put in place to receive that money. What do you have to say about his
this is the arrogance of this gentleman now occupying the prime ministership of the country, who feels that the rules of the parliament and government doesn't belong. He doesn't have to obey those rules. I am quite clear on the rules and what is expected for expenditure under the 10,000. My staff at the Northwest Constituency Office is meeting that fundamental aspect of the rules for that expend resources, and I intend to provide the accounting of those monies. I think it's every quarter. The Clerk of Parliament has said that we have to provide it, and I would obey. I think every one of us who receive government funds must know that we have to account. So I don't think anyone should say that they don't feel that they have a right, and they should be accounting to anyone. The executive branch must not. The Parliament cannot tell the executive branch about monies that it has expended. I have never heard this in my entire life, and I don't know where this Prime Minister got those rules that he's now expounding. And I'm very comfortable with providing details of expenditure for that monthly allocation given to the constituency, like every member. And that will be my position. So, but that is the maximum leader mindset. Mm-hmm. This man feels he's bigger than everybody else in this country, and he doesn't have to obey no rules. That's how he feels. He behaves like that. He acts like that. To me, that is the most arrogant person that I've ever seen, occupying a position as the leader of a country with that arrogance that I've seen. I've never seen. And I've seen Prime Minister Blaise, I've seen Prime Minister Braffett, I've seen Prime Minister Ben Jones, I've seen Prime Minister Brizan, I have seen Prime Minister Tillman Thomas, I have seen all of the Prime Ministers. I have been a young man in the country growing up, I've seen Eric Gary as Prime Minister and so on, but I've never seen a man who has conducted himself so arrogantly and who has the least experience of the parliamentary system among all prime ministers whose name I just called. Mm-hmm. He has the least experience, but he's the most arrogant one I've ever seen.
And not to mention the world leaders that you have met, from popes to Fidel Castro to Mandela to you name it.
I've clearly had meetings with Mandela. I have well known that I had several sessions at the White House. George Bush, myself, and John Major, John Howard of Australia. We were together at the White House, three of us, Prime President the United States, the Prime Minister of Australia. I was at the 1984 heads of government meeting representing Prime Minister Blaise with all the major prime ministers around the world. Chancellor Kohl of Germany, Prime Minister Carriacou of Japan, Margaret Thatcher of Britain, and all these world leaders. I was there with all of them,
and you never meet somebody
watched them operate. Eugenia Charles in Dominica, James Mitchell, John Compton, and you could name the Edward Seaga of Jamaica. All these leaders, I've seen them operate. I've never seen anyone with the lack of humility and the arrogance that I have seen displayed by the present gentleman, now occupying the position of Prime Minister of this country. But it is said we can behave as we want and operate arrogantly and talk down to everybody for a time. But we all have to face the people of the country. I've faced the people of the country for over 7 elections, and I know we can be easily humbled at the polls when an election is held. So if we assume that we are bigger than the people, when that time comes, the people will teach us the lesson that they have to teach us. And I'm quite convinced that the Grenadian people eyes are not closed, and they will deal with all of us who believe that we are bigger than them. They will find one day that they will be humbled.
Well, Doc, as I wrap up with you, because I know that it's after 9, so I know you've got to go. But
much longer than we had planned.
But just to say this, though, Doc, around this time, roughly about 7 years ago, I think you was on your way to Beaujeu to basically deliver your victory speech after winning 15 seats. So,
yes.
Because in 2018, on this day, in particular on this night, the elections would have already been called. I think all of us were on our way to Beaujeu at this point in time.
Yes.
So happy anniversary.
Yes. Thank you, Sheldon. That was a long time ago, as you said, 7 years ago.
Yes, indeed.
We've done that 3 times, and that's one thing I could tell you. No one has ever accused me as Prime Minister of the country, even with 15 seats in the Parliament, of acting as if I'm bigger than everybody else, and treating my ministers as if they are little boys, and going to Parliament and telling them they have to sit down and I take over. That kind of thing. No one in my government, the government that I served and I led, could ever accuse me of behaving. As far as I was concerned, that I am just the first among equals in the Parliament of the country or on the cabinet. I was the Prime Minister and therefore Chairman of the cabinet, but I had the respect. I respected every member, and I always felt that they had a right to correct me when I'm going wrong, because I'm just human, and that I'm subjected to mistakes like anybody else. And any Prime Minister that doesn't understand this is doomed to have serious setbacks politically. So that is my view, and that's why I see things. So I'm quite comfortable where we are today, and I want to end, Sheldon, to once again say that I'm very impressed with the conduct and performance of the present leader of the opposition. And clearly, I look forward to continuing in that position and continuing to play that role up to the general election, which I expect that we should be highly successful going forward.
Dr. Mitchell,
all the best, Sheldon, for the program tonight.
One quick one before you run off, though. Our regional Prime Minister said they're coming in Northwest. A certain regional Prime Minister, one of your regional sons. Because
I have more time than Brother Scarrett. So if he's coming to Beaujeu, where the ground is very solid, I think I might have a better position of winning in Dominica in his constituency than he has in mine, because I have more time than him, because I don't occupy an office of Prime Minister this time, so I have more time than he does. So that's what I would say to him. I thought it was ridiculous for him to make a statement like this, but I take it at what it's worth. But everyone knows that Beaujeu and Northwest St. George's is NNP territory, and in the worst of times, when no one constituency in the country, only one constituency, St. Mark's, voted for the NNP, and that was in 1990 election, and the Northwest St. George's people gave me 70% of the votes, and in 1999 they gave me 91%, and the last election almost 80% of the vote. So anyone feels they want to come in Northwest constituencies, and to to create any problem there electorally, whether it's a prime minister from outside or anyone within this present political construct. Then we welcome them. But this is a graveyard for opposition to NNP. Constituency. So clearly, Sheldon, I'm very happy to welcome anyone coming forward in the Northwest and claiming that they're interested in taking NNP seat in the heart of bastion of support for the NNP. I welcome them and
yes,
so
indeed.
on. So
Yes,
I look
indeed.
forward to that entry. So they could have fun, Sheldon, and we will have fun too.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
All
Doc.
the
You do
best.
enjoy the rest of your night.
All the best.
All right.
Take
Have
care.
a wonderful
Take care, man.
weekend as
All
well.
the best. You too. You too. Bye-bye.
Yes, indeed, folks. We were speaking there with Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, just getting some insight in relation to the various issues, the parliamentary protests by members of the New National Party team led by our political leader, the Honorable Emlyn Pear, in relation to the actions, illegally so, of the Speaker during that parliamentary session. Dr. Mitchell has made it clear, because I see some folks out there who, one, have never spent any time in Parliament. They don't know parliamentary procedure. Some of them have not even been visiting Parliament when there are sessions, for instance, to listen to a budget or the opening of Parliament or anything. They don't even attend. They don't know the procedure. They don't know anything. But they are the people that are out there speaking the most in relation to this particular issue. Folks like myself could speak. I see some individuals going to speak on programs and so about parliamentary session. They wasn't inside there long enough to pick up a call from somebody sit down next to them, but all of a sudden they are experts on parliamentary procedure. They are expert. They wasn't even there long enough to know that if the person next to them had a call, they could have pick it up. But they are experts on parliamentary procedure and going to speak about issues like what took place this week in the Parliament chamber. They don't know. They're not experienced enough. Yeah? So we have to be careful. And that's one of the things you always have to be careful about. You always have to be careful about the source that you take information as fact from. Yeah? That's why when we say something here, we're able to play it or direct you to where you can find it or give a date and say, you said this on the 27th of April in the year 2021. This is what you said after 9 in the morning on this program. This was the host. We could tell them that is what they said. And they can't deny it. Yeah? We've got some callers coming through. Let me start to take the calls on the line. Hello, good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Good night, my dear. How are you?
How are you tonight?
I'm fine.
Well, I kind of upset, you know.
You're upset, oh dear.
Yeah, because I heard Mr. Ron Redhead on the news tonight was saying Dr. Mitchell had to come and apologize to Parliament.
But hold on, the thing is this, I wonder if I really want to hear about Ron. But go ahead. Because you see, I kind of had my quota of stupidness for the month already. So I wanted to listen to more Ron. I'll go over my limit of stupid. But go ahead.
I'm trying to remember. Ron Redhead is a member of Parliament, and he was fired and gone to study, and the Prime Minister didn't know if he would take him back to work.
Well, Mr. Studying, I know he's studying.
Now in Parliament saying Dr. Mitchell had to apologize to the Parliament.
Outside of winning a general election, what has Ron Redhead ever really done for this country? To be trying to talk down to Dr. The Right. In fact, it would be belittling of Dr. Mitchell to even respond to an individual like Ron Redhead.
You understand? And
He ain't even sure that he would get back in cabinet. And he definitely ain't getting a second term. So I mean
and the Prime Minister, why he should call the leader of His Majesty's opposition mother hen and her cheeks? I heard it.
I wasn't going to repeat the statement itself because I find it so demeaning and idiotic.
That's something good to say. And Chester Humphrey was saying Dr. Mitchell is wrong for getting the order of the House. What kind of thing is that with Chester Humphrey? What happened to them?
You see, the thing
is a lot for us to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to wait to listen when Dr. Mitchell have the forum to hear exactly what's going on in this country.
Yes, indeed.
So have a blessed night.
All right, thank you. And I'll say this, though. The events of Tuesday have sort of taken away from the budget itself. And I think that was part of a broader strategy by the government, because there are a lot of loopholes. It has so much loopholes inside that they could open a Fruit Loop factory. And it is taking away now from the debate in relation to the budget and what the opposition was saying, showing all the faults with their figures and what they've been talking about. Let's take this call. Hello, good night.
Sheldon.
Good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Good night, my dear.
You said this parliament thing, this is a setup. They plan what they're doing, because remember when Honorable Emlyn Pierre was talking, the Prime Minister didn't sit down and listen. He go and lie down, or he go and lie down inside a room. He don't want to hear what you was saying. Check it out. So you mean he didn't want to hear nobody. You see that the plan. You don't see that they let Dr. Mitchell say nothing. That was a plan. No mistake don't make there, you know. Dr. Mitchell saying that the Minister of Finance come to close up Parliament, but it is was a plan. It is a plan thing. They just mean no. Dr. Mitchell don't have to say nothing. That was a plan thing. Apology to who? When they're making a scandal and back and calling Miss Pierre chicken with she children. Who apologizing to her? Who is the one apologizing to her? When Dr. Mitchell building this building, you know how many fight don't he get? And then for him to inherit it, now everybody want to chase him like dogs? No. This is the thing cannot work. It's time for us to stand up and move these people, and they are wrong. They're creating too much hazard. We don't want them and we don't need them. It's time to go. That is what I have to say. It's time to go, Sheldon. It is not to say they do what they do. They plan. And Keto tell himself, if he don't do what he had to do, they go fire him. So he had to do what they tell him. They still cannot blame Keto, because if Keto ever don't do what they say, he know he want a job tomorrow. So that is why it was a plan thing. If you listen, I listen Jenny, I listen you when you put it on, I listen everything, and this is a plan thing. If you're listening, nobody don't make no mistake, nobody don't say the speaker or whosoever. That's a plan.
You want to know something?
Thing, Sheldon.
You want to
Enjoy
know?
the rest of your night.
All right, thank you. You all want to know something? How much you want to bet a certain newspaper comes out with photos of the opposition at their protests when they were leaving the chamber? How much you want to bet that there was strategically placed camera people within the chamber at that point in time to make sure they capture certain pictures? How much you want to bet that? Go and change your newspaper now. How much you want to bet? Yeah? 440-737-347-329-3101. And we have a caller.
Sheldon.
Good night, my dear. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right, go right ahead.
I want to compliment the opposition leader, which is Ms. Emlyn Pierre, for the way that she dressed to go to Parliament with her hat and her suit. That reminds me of the days of Whipple-Ned, Miss Nydia Benjamin, and Miss Gary in those days. That's the way how the as the ladies must dress. And I want to say, Sheldon, I know you know what to say where we did in Grenada right about now. Deacon and the regiment and them, they have no respect. No respect whatsoever for nobody at all. And I think we have to rise up. I don't know. We have to rise up. We have to do something. We can't let go for Deacon, right? And the regiment and them, as if we afraid them. We have to do something. It's time for we to get up and get. It's time for we to do something. It's time. I find we taking too long. Because Deacon think that Grenada is his. Grenada is not his. Grenada belongs to the people. You hear? He only there for a short time, and he have no respect. And what are he showing to the young people that coming up? I know his grandmother, and I know his grandmother show him respect, not to disrespect people. Right? I don't know what to say, where we heading, where we going, what becoming of Grenada. The first time I see this thing going on in Grenada. I know Sir Eric Matugeri, I know Blaise, Ben Jones, all the other prime ministers and them, I work under them. And this is the worst in history. I don't think you have anything worse to come again in Grenada. Thank you, Sheldon.
All right, my dear. Thank you so very much. 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Yeah, it's your opportunity to have your say in relation to this issue. And once again, we want to thank Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell for joining us tonight and giving us some insight into, 1979, and you look at the behavior of some people and you look at what's going on now. Yeah, we have a call online. Hello.
Hey, Sheldon, good night.
Hey,
good night, Talking Points.
How you do?
I'm doing very well.
Yeah, man. Go right ahead.
Sheldon, let me tell you what's going on with this thing. This thing was orchestrated since the day the Governor General, impromptu, she called on Honorable Pierre to get sworn in. With no fanfare, she couldn't get on the call, she family. From that, I started realizing something going on. This Honorable Prime Minister, Nika Mitchell, is very, very vindictive. And right now, this gentleman is shedding his skin. You see this 2.5 years going there? His skin now started to shed. Grenadians now start to see the true colors of Deacon and Miss Thomas Mitchell. And they go learn, according to the Deputy PRO, they will learn. Let me tell you something. Right now, the NDC is a party of conspiracy theorists. They are psychics right now. So what they say now, well, Kibecha would have done that, and Kibecha wouldn't have paid his pension. So they know what Kibecha was thinking. Them is the best in English now. So when they hear something, they say, oh, we take it out of that context and play the whole video as if we dumb.
No, we direct them where to go and find the videos. We're not playing anything out of context. You can't say, for instance, that you never said anything about stroke of the pen and so. And we have, they could go and they can scrub the internet as much as they want because they've been doing that. Scrub the internet as much as they want and try to remove. It's too late. We download all that already.
And that is what is backfiring on them, because here are they saying, NMP people they can't use computer, they doesn't read, they doesn't use search. But guess what? They figure it's them alone that have that kind of area. Yes, we have it too, brother. We have young people on board with us. And they're attacking the young ladies in the party now. They're attacking Ms. Japal. They're calling them names. No, this is a war, Sheldon, I'm telling you. I've been calling programs since 2003. And never in my life I would have ever disrespect any member of NDC, like when they was in opposition and when they came in power in 2008. There was a program with Alan Campbell, ICB, and a program. And I never heard one day that host of that program called any member of NDC any derogatory names. None whatsoever. But today, this morning, I hear a program with a lady disrespecting.
Let me try.
I ain't gonna say where.
Yeah.
No, I ain't gonna say where. But I heard a lady disrespecting the females in the NMP, and some big men sit on there, and them men is like brothers, what is wrong with you guys? At least say no caller, please. Let's ease up on that. Like you will say, Sheldon, ease up. Them men just let me sing right on. That's the delusion they're having. The NEC supporters have so much hate in their heart right now. It is unbelievable. And it's getting dangerous. And what the Prime Minister said in his budget closing speech about in the Bahamas, we don't want to come like that. He's the one that is spewing this kind of evilness, because he's the one that was in Bush, you saying, well, give this to your party members and know who's who and go in the office. And he had minions saying it. But here's what, before I leave, Honorable Pierre, he did a good job. And the next NMP rally, I want you to have it, please, in St. David's in the Las Vegas pasture. Then we go and show them green power. Good night, Sheldon.
All right, my brother. Oops, we have a call online. Hello, good night. Hello. Hello, good night. Okay, we may have lost that caller. 440-7377, 347-329-3101. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Sheldon, good night.
Good night, my dear. How are you?
Ade, do at Wadi. Sheldon. Okay, we all knew what went on. We heard everything. But I'm looking at that part of it. The speaker
asked for a 3-minute recess. He went at the back or wherever he went. We don't know who the speaker spoke with. We don't know that.
we know he spoke with because
I put in that I put in that we don't know who he spoke with.
Mm-hmm.
But when the speaker came back, when the Prime Minister came back, when the opposition came back, and Dr. Mitchell wanted to find out what was going on. And to me, the speaker tell himself, I'm in charge. You can ask me what's going on. I'm in charge. But at that point, Sheldon, I'm not too sure if anybody followed up with it. At that point, when Honorable Emmeline Pierre stood and she was saying, this is not what was communicated to us in the back. What was communicated to them is that the Minister of Finance will close the budget. So that's why I said we don't know who the speaker had dialogue with when he went on recess. But what I heard Honorable Emmeline Pierre says, this is not what was communicated with us. And she was about to say what was communicated. Mr. Speaker asked her to take his seat. She repeated herself. There and then, I know Honorable Emmeline Pierre was going to expose the minister, the speaker there and then. He realized he get jam, he get pig. So what he tell her? She repeated herself, take her seat. But that's not what he told them. He told them in conversation, he told them that the Minister of Finance would conclude. And he must have told the PM something else. So calling for the resignation of the Speaker, it is a must. The Speaker must, in his own self, must honestly step down and said, I cannot do the job. It's as simply as that. Everybody beating up on Dr. Kit Mitchell. A man come out from where he come out and he come and he beat up on Dr. Kit Mitchell. He want to go to the constituency with Dr. Kit Mitchell. Everybody beating up on Dr. Kit Mitchell. But Sheldon, the persons who are beating up on Dr. Kit Mitchell now should remember, lest they forget, that Dr. Kit Mitchell is the one that is responsible for them having that freedom of speech now. Old people say, what miss you, don't say pass you. That's it for me, Sheldon.
All right. Thank you so very much. And folks, let me just play. When I say that the thing was planned, and I know what I'm saying and what I say,
Compound. Mr. Speaker, I could have predicted this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. Because it is always about movie lang and wanting to have the last say and get the attention and distract from the substantive debate.
He just exposing what your own plan was, because they were the ones that wanted to distract from the substantive debate. Because if you listened to what Dr. Clarice Modest had to say, especially in relation to healthcare, and how many of the figures are not adding up, and many of the issues that should have been funded and directly dealt with were not funded and directly dealt with. When you listen to the Honorable Kate Lewis Keita Peters on the same issues, or the numbers just not adding up, and areas that money was placed in, areas that are productive, they were underspent. In other words, let's say you put $100, but you spend 30. That sort of thing is what was taking place, for instance, in areas like agriculture, in certain aspects of health. that you're seeing that the amount of money that was budgeted, that they spent way under that amount of money, and it's not that they had savings, it's not that they got donations, it's not that they got grants somewhere or so, because even the grants would have had to be taken into consideration. None of that is what took place. They just didn't spend the damn money. So if you go back and you listen carefully to what the Honorable, and I should put in the doctor already, Dr. Emlyn Pierre, but we go hold off on that still. The Honorable Emlyn Pierre said, in relation to various issues, and the amount of money that was spent in areas that you could consider unproductive. For instance, when it comes to travel, the area of travel and entertainment under the Prime Minister's ministry, where they spent $1.2 million more than was budgeted. That's in relation to traveling and entertainment. $1.2 million more than was budgeted. Meanwhile, in agriculture, you spend close to 600, you did not spend close to 0.6 million. Because their priorities are wrong. Their priorities are wrong. You're budgeting money for areas like health. You're not placing the money. You're not spending the money on healthcare. And you're talking about things, for instance. Listen to Dr. Modest's presentation. You go here. Listen to Honorable Emlyn Pierre. You go hear it. You're not spending the money on important things. And we're talking about things like medication. We're talking about things like medical equipment. You're not spending the money on these things that you have budgeted, so the money is supposed to be there or coming in. You budget for those things. You're not spending that money. And you're still coming back and spend $1.2 million extra, more than you're supposed to spend on travel. And that's just the Prime Minister ministry. That is not the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That is not the climate resilience one, where the MP from St. John always in some hotel, some part of the world. That is not. And going with a long retinue. Well, I hear things. I ain't going to talk about that personal business. I don't dig in all your personal business. Dig in mine, I'll start to talk about them things. But anyhow, that is not that ministry. That is not the Ministry of Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs or the Ministry of MIT. That is not one of those ministries. Just the Prime Minister's ministry. 1.2 million. Could imagine what's going on in some of them other ministries, because every time you check for some of those ministers, they out. They're like a bad batsman in cricketer. Every time you look for them, they out. Where's your MP? He out. Don't worry, the time will come just now when they're going to be permanently out. It coming. It's closer than you may think. That is why you have to get yourself ready. It is closer than you may think. We have a call online. Hello, good night. Call on the overseas line. Hello, good night. Oh, I think I know where the mistake is. Hello, good night. It was on my end. I hit the wrong button. So go right ahead.
It's Sheldon. What's going on, man?
I am good, man. You go ahead.
Sheldon, listen. When I figured out what happened with the NDC party, you know, all members in that party, it's just a matter of time that they show who they are. What's about the brother what run on accountability and transparency? With all what happening, we heard nothing about him. What's about Ray Roberts? What always done in the government through the ADP? You heard nothing with all what's going on. What about Nazim Buck? You heard nothing about your brother. Sheldon, what about Narco? Oh my God, I never seen nothing so. Sheldon, all them brothers, as Andy had said, they have the guts to do it. These brothers didn't have the guts to do it, but all of them had one intention when they get in there. It's to make themselves rich. And Sheldon, all these guys know you don't hear nothing from them. They is part of the problem. They've been paid off. All of them get money to shut them out. Sheldon. Sheldon, the last time a brother called it from up here. He says from the diaspora. And with what and what? Sheldon, give me a chance to talk to the brother. fag. Let me tell you something.
Hey. Let me don't go down that road.
Okay.
Let's not go down them road. Let's not go down them road. I tell you already.
All right, Sheldon.
You're gonna put me. You're gonna put me in legal trouble.
Sheldon,
Right.
hold on a while. Let me get my point across. Sheldon, that same brother, I think that brother must live in Greenwich Village. And you know what happened in Greenwich Village, right?
I don't know nothing
I
about
think
that.
he was part of the crew up here. What couldn't make Deacon sign that gay bill in Belgium? Sheldon, Trump take a swipe at them, you know. I don't know the African country, but Trump said this nasty African country, nobody knows them. They allow the European country to push on a gay bill on them, and they go and sign it. Nobody want to go in the country. Sheldon, just to find out, they show flames with Ian Moss and the foreign minister from the country. Was somehow, I don't know what Ian Moss was trying to promote over there. And then they interview citizens of the country, they interview a brother. I don't know what is the official language, but that brother speak very good English. And what the brother say, he show the embassy. He said, what if Trump could say that nobody knows us? He said, look, the embassy there. He said, what we should do now? Close it down? Sheldon, it seems like Trump picking on the countries who go and sign that bill, and Grenada in deep shit. Anyway, my brother.
All right, my brother.
I respect you. I didn't cause you any problem. I'm sorry for that.
No, I calling you. You had to pay the lawyer. Me.
No problem.
I
assist you any way I could.
I don't want to help me to shake like a shack.
I hear you, my brother.
All right. 440-737-347-329-3101. And let me correct something I was saying a short while ago. I erroneously said that the Prime Minister's, I don't want to get in legal trouble. So I erroneously said that the Prime Minister's ministry spent $1.2 million more than was budgeted. I humbly apologize. I made an error. The Prime Minister's ministry indeed spent $2.1 million. Yeah, they spent more, not less. $2.1 million more than was budgeted on traveling. That is jumping plane with like they're moving like Beyonce and them now. When they move it, they just move with cameraman and personal secretary. Well, we don't mind they move with security. Every prime minister when they're traveling, they move with security and that kind of thing. That is important. Yeah? So we ain't talking about them. Them guys important. They're doing their work. They're police officers. That is the detail. We ain't talking about them. But you see when you're moving with personal secretary and then you're moving with cameraman and then on top of that, you're moving with treasurer at the NDC. We're really serving no purpose because up to now we're trying to find out what benefit have they brought to the state of Grenada. In fact, it is about time that we ask all these diplomatic appointments that they have there, what benefits have they brought to Grenada? What benefits have they brought to the state of Grenada? All the diplomatic appointments, those in China. Yeah? When you hear the New National Party have a person in China, you hear every few months that Grenada getting something out of China because they out there and they're listening and they're taking part and they're participating and they're constantly in contact and looking for avenues for Grenada to benefit. Not for individuals within the political party that they belong to benefit. They're looking for things for the country to benefit. When you hear you have Grenadian embassy out in Brussels and you hear they having, you hear about they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're organizing and they're getting stuff back for Grenada. Right now, all of these people they have outside, to me, like some of them, I feel they run them. Some of them, politically, they didn't want them in Grenada. They don't want them around the NDC. They don't want them around them. So they say the best thing to do is to plunk them some way outside of Grenada because they ain't serving no purpose, if you ask me. We have a caller online. Let's go to the phone line. Hello, good night.
That's Sheldon program?
Yes, it is. You're live. Go right ahead.
Yes, Sheldon. Good night. Go right ahead?
Yes, go right ahead. You're live.
Yeah, good night, Sheldon.
Good night.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the phone line, huh? Yeah.
It seems as though this government does not have the ability and the capacity to run this country. They come in against an experienced team. And you see, the thing is, they will do all in order to distract them in Parliament. But we see, however, the people of Grenada is seeing what is happening. Especially Dr. Mitchell, being the father of the house, he knows the law. And he knows how Parliament rules.
No, go ahead, caller. Go ahead. Talk on the phone with us. If you're paying attention to the radio, get out.
Listen to what Dr. Mitchell said. He's quite correct in his capacity. And we have to be very careful of what this government is doing, because we know that they don't have the capacity of ruling this country in the way that Grenada should be governed. We have seen errors upon errors, and they're taking it as a joke. The man is serious in Parliament, and if you listen to him and your talking show, he mentioned all the former prime ministers he come up against, and you have never seen that before with this Dr. Mitchell and his administration. They need to go back to the drawing board. Even the speaker, you can see definitely he don't know what he's about. But the time will come that the Grenadian people is looking, and they will determine where they go from there. But God is good.
Indeed. Thank you so very much for your input, caller, and you have a wonderful remainder of your night. Okay, I think they're gone. Yeah, you have a wonderful remainder of your night. Yes, and two words come to mind. I've always paid quite particular attention to regional politics, and you all know my connection with Trinidad. And former Prime Minister Patrick Manning had a word he used to use from time to time to describe certain types of behavior, wajang. And when you look at some of the members on the government side of the house, that's the kind of behavior. I think Patrick Manning, the late Patrick Manning, God bless his soul, was a man that helped Grenada when we needed him most back in 2004. When you look at the behavior of certain people on the government side, that is the perfect word to describe them. Wajang. Yeah? And there's another word, there's a Hindi word in Trinidad that they use to describe certain people. And there are certain people on the government side that I would also, and my friends who speak Hindi would understand what I'm saying when I call them a nimakaram. Yeah? They understand perfectly what I mean when I call somebody a nimakaram. Right? Go and research it too. Let's go find out what it means. I ain't going into details. But it has certain, they are nimakaram. Some Hindi people some people that speak Hindi turn off the radio right now. They want to hear that term. Yeah, nimakaram. That's what it is. Nimakaram. 4407377 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yeah? Agriculture. No, these are the things they don't want you to know. These are the things that they don't want you to know. Agriculture. The inputs in relation to agriculture, they have cut by $30 million for the year 2025. Now, picture this. We had a dry spell in 2023 that affected agricultural output. In other words, farmers were not able to produce as much as they usually produce in the year 2023 because of that dry spell towards the later part of 2023. Remember, you had a long period of time, no rain. 2024, same thing again. You had a dry spell for a couple months where, we was praying for rain to fall. Remember when Granatang Lake, the level of Granatang Lake dropped by several feet. Not inches, by several feet. That sometime we had to get water like shopping days during COVID, like it was by letters. Because we wasn't getting water. Sometime a week pass and the area can't get water. Sometime if you get it after a week, you're lucky. And it was all because we didn't have rainfall. And it affected agricultural output because obviously, if the farmers don't have water and the rivers and streams drying up, if they don't have that, I'm going to be talking about water and farmers and water very soon. Or they wouldn't believe what this government is doing. But they've cut by $30 million, not 30%, $30 million, the amount of money that is allocated towards agriculture. At a point in time, well, I hear all they run and get table and chair. I hope they get the table and chair. They were supposed to get it on Monday. When you have people working in the agricultural sector, where they bring in these animals and so, and they didn't even have a proper table to sit down on, that to sit down on the ground and fold their leg, like if they're doing meditation. Like if there's Buddhists, sit down on the ground and fold their leg. When you had people working within the sector who were not receiving their salaries, and people who were being paid under the minimum wage and still are up to today. But you cut the amount of money in agriculture by 30%. In other words, you're making Grenada more dependent on outside. You're making Grenada much more dependent on outside. So while you cutting the amount of money in relation to agriculture, what you should have been doing is saying, we're going to put on more money for agriculture. Now, you know what we're going to do? We're going to help farmers with irrigation. We're going to help them to drill some wells so that they can access water. We're going to help them with hydroponics and so on. We're going to help them with greenhouses. We're going to help them with seedlings. We're going to engage more seriously with the Chinese agricultural mission, so that even in the dry conditions, we'll find more hardy crops that could survive the kind of dry conditions that we see happening from time to time. And be careful, because we're going into our dry season there, we don't know. So at least any government that really thinking would at least say, no, we can't cut the amount of money we put in by $30 million. What about the farm roads? What about the roads for the farmers to get their crops in? Or they forget about bucket truck and all kind of thing. Like, all they change all their mind on the bucket truck and them. Or what about the storage centers? All they change all their mind on the storage centers for the crops and so on around the island. What about the processing? All of that cannot be achieved now because you all have reduced the amount of money under an important area like that. When it comes to medicine and the medical field, and you realize what they are doing there, and they're speaking about teaching hospital. So anybody who's supposed to die right now, or in a bad condition right now, like you're supposed to stay there and wait. You're supposed to stay there now and say, okay, let me hold on. I'm waiting for them to do the hospital. I'm waiting for them to, no, I can't get sick now. I'll go wait until they build the hospital. What takes place with the facility that exists right now, and what takes place with the equipment, with the medication, with the training, with the expansion of the healthcare system? And let me point out something here. This government, they had a budget speech. One, they had 2 days of discussion. Up to now, we have not heard from this government anything. They talk about Cuba, and they have not said straight up that all of them willing to give up their US visa, and not just them. Remember, their wife, their husband, their children, everybody had to give up their US visa. They have not said. I hear Mia Motley say it. Me, I hear them talk about it. I want to hear from this Prime Minister and his cabinet, just like I hear from other countries, that they are willing. Ralph Gonsalves said, he said, well, they want the visa, take it. Mia Motley said, well, if they want the visa, they could take it, you know. So I want to hear from the Prime Minister of this country if he's of the same mindset or ilk. If he's willing to stand on the side of the Cuban people and say, hey, if all you want all your visa, take it. I ain't bound to come. But you see, remember, there's the same Prime Minister whose ministry has spent $2.1 million over budget in relation to travel and entertainment. You think he want to give up a US visa? You're mad. They want the man melt. They want to give up their visa. Well, I'm coming to the phone line just now, folks. Sorry about that. I'm coming to the phone line just now, because I just don't want to forget what I was going to speak about as well. Now remember, while we have Mount Royal sit down there, you had to spend over $250,000 for where the Prime Minister is every year. Mount Royal sit down empty. Nowhere within the budget, nowhere in any medium term, long term, or short term strategy, anything, is there a plan that says we're going to move out of the renting. We have identified a place, we're going to build a new Prime Minister's residence there. with a conference center and this and that, and so we're going to build a new. You mind if they say they're going and do that, you know? You're going and build a new prime minister's residence, or the same Mount Royal, you're going to rebuild it or so on. But instead of that, you're spending over $250,000 just for a place for the prime minister to rent when there's an existing place. If you want, you could go in your own house and stay, you know. If you don't want to go in Mount Royal, go in your own house and stay. But you're spending over $250,000 for him to go and stay in a place because you find that place is suitable to a prime minister. But you find Mount Royal, when he applied for the job of prime minister, he didn't realize that Mount Royal he had to go and stay. Yeah, he didn't realize that. Even the prime minister's office in the ministerial complex, if you all don't know, the prime minister ain't using there. The prime minister believes that the ministerial complex is below him. The people who are there are below him. The office that is there is below him. He wants, when he drives up to this big, nice building. So he actually utilizes instead the office that's located at the Parliament building. That's where he does be, you know. That's where he does be. So he utilizes the office at the Parliament building instead. That is where he finds is more suitable for a prime minister, not the office of the prime minister down in the ministerial complex. That is the mindset of these individuals. They're too good for this and they're too good for that. They apply for the job, they know what the job entails, and they still apply for these things in this sense. Yeah? That is what is going on with these individuals. And folks, before you run out of time, let me take all your call quick. Call now. 440-7377-347-329-3101. Let me take all your call. Call. Yeah, man. The Prime Minister's residence, he want to stay there. The Prime Minister's office, he want to stay there. Well, if you don't want to stay in the Prime Minister's residence and you don't want to stay in the Prime Minister's office, the Grenadian people will do you a favor. Call the election. We go fix that problem for you. Because you have a problem. We're going to fix the problem for you. If you don't want to be in the Prime Minister's office and you don't want to be in the Prime Minister's residence, the Grenadian people shall fix that problem for you. We will not be obfuscated by the various attempts by individuals who surround you and the sycophants and wrong nosers who jump on every platform to call people all sorts of derogatory names, and so we will not be sidetracked by them. The time will come and all are we going inside there and place we mark next to the symbol that we feel is best. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Hey, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Good night, brother.
Good night. I'm good, man. Go right ahead.
That's what I'm saying. There are certain points that the NMP can use as serious campaigning points. That is one. Get the figures correctly, how much this man is using for his rent. And make the public of Grenada know how much money we are wasting on this individual just for a place for you to rent, for you to please himself. When you talk to an NDC supporter about that, you can see on their face they're not pleased with that. So there are certain points that NMP can use to make serious political dent on the political field. The second one is that market for the farmers. Most farmers out here, when they plant a crop and they sell the first time, you remember the crop still because there's no market. Marketing board was essential. They said they open a new one, open they can't open. That's the next point again that NMP need to push. Because there are a lot of points that NDC is lapsing on, and I still believe that NMP is not pushing it hard enough. We need to get our points.
The latest I hear another date on marketing and national importing board being given as later this year or something now. It was supposed to be last year, June. Now it reached later this year.
They're playing games, so we need to get our talking points clear. Where we hit it. Because remember, Donald Trump went on, he's serious about this thing about gay, and there's only two gender. And there's nothing, no matter you're Democrat or Republican, that is serious in your mind. We don't know what is serious in our mind here. This point, where the Prime Minister is renting it, that is a no-no for Grenadians. Everybody's against that. After NDC or NMP, that is a no-no. So there are points that we can really hit on and score points. But it seems like we're not hitting hard enough. We're not hitting that ball hard enough. Farmers are seeing trouble out here, real trouble. You understand? So there are a lot of points that we can use. We need to get our ducks in a row. Because the election is soon.
Imagine farmers, $30 million. You know what I could do for irrigation for some farmers, brother? You know what I could do for some fishermen, especially those who get boats damaged during the hurricane and needed to replace equipment, especially safety equipment, so that you don't have a fisherman going missing and your family, you just never hear about them. You know much people go missing over the last few years and we just never hear nothing about them again?
Never hear nothing at all.
Never. They're just out there and you just never hear nothing again. We have to put systems in place to deal with these things.
Good. The boasting about this housing is better build back house. There's an individual right now who was broken down in the hurricane, destroyed completely. And the man is sleeping on the house. Under a house, old man, he can't see good. This is something that is serious. This man is sleeping on the house. Every time you see this man walking the next day, you walking like if he's stiff. The element of the wind every night, he's hitting his body.
What I'd like you to do is send me a message on the WhatsApp and give us some details where the gentleman is and so on, so that if anything, at least we can, even if we work along with the authorities to ensure that he's placed in a proper place or something, at least something can be done. We can't hear of another individual in a situation like that and just say, the man going through that, we have to try and help.
Under the hurricane.
Yeah.
They have to call information for that guy to get a house. I don't know how he can get a house because he maybe think he's nobody. So
well, we'll embarrass them. My brother will embarrass them into doing it because we'll expose it. WhatsApp me the information.
All right.
Yeah, and you can always get me on 421-7279. 421-7279. You can WhatsApp me there.
All right, good, yeah.
I'm more likely to get that over the weekend, and so let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Even if it's to embarrass them to help that gentleman.
Good.
All right, my brother. All right. Yes, indeed, folks. I wonder if we could probably take about one more call before we wrap for tonight. It is the last program for this week. And yeah, we're not going back to the Friday night programs yet. We can't. Yeah. So it's our last program for the week. Let's take who will be our last caller for this week. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Fadu, good bless one.
Fadu, Wago.
Yes, Wago. I know I ain't have much time.
Wago, cut and go through.
There's some irregularities in back to the budget thing. One, I mean there was some policy to do some geothermal exploration and all that. I have a question for the government. Is there anybody that have claims to the mineral rights in terms of drilling? Because if I can put somebody on contract based on them supplying the machinery and the other stuff to do the drilling, they might have claims to if there's like other minerals apart from the crude that they're talking about. And we in the tropics, some of volcanic regions, so you never know what could be there. But the next thing, for the geothermal thing they was talking about, I think would be more proficient and efficient if they did something with the waves, because we're surrounded by islands, by water. Sorry, we're on an island. So if they did something with wave generation, it's definitely more efficient. They more or less just have to set up the capacitors, conductors, and all that stuff and generate stuff from that. In terms of irrigation for water people, they're bottles that you could, like when you for cyclists, that it actually condense the water molecules in the air while you're driving and converts that into water, call it like a solar still. So there's a dude in Nigeria that just invented a water treatment plant or something. There's one in America too. I think they try to kill them too. So sorry,
well,
I don't know
let me tell you something. Before you go further, let me tell you something on the. Don't worry, man. I go reach home. The geothermal. Now, the geothermal, I know that there is already a study in relation to that. So if they're still going and pay to do a study again, they're just giving people money for nothing. Because
exactly, that's the best way to hide it,
Yeah, well, it's washing money, but we have shown last year, and I'm going to find the document and put it out next week again, in relation to the geothermal. In fact, there have been several geothermal studies in Grenada between the 1970s up to now. Now, when Dr. Mitchell traveled to a heads of government meeting, not regional, a world meeting he headed to, it was over in Australia. The Prime Minister of New Zealand said to Dr. Mitchell, we believe that you all would be interested in geothermal. It would be a good thing to come over and visit and see what we are doing with geothermal. Dr. Mitchell left. He went over into New Zealand I have the pictures of him there somewhere, and I believe that would be in the year either late 2013 or 2014.
Check.
And he went, he saw that. Then the New Zealand government funded a study here in Grenada that looked at geothermal sources at the base of Mount St. Catherine.
There
Because,
you go.
and they identified several areas, because some of the lands are private lands and so on. But they identified areas that if you're going to do geothermal, those are the areas you have to look at.
Yeah, the best areas.
Yeah,
Facts.
I can't remember the year that study was concluded, if it was 2017 or 2018 or where that the study was concluded. But I have a copy of the study somewhere there.
Study.
So,
Yeah, you should present it.
Yeah, I have a copy of it.
To add to that too, the conditions of solving the water problem and the flooding in River Road.
Mm-hmm.
Studies has been done by schools as SBAs.
Mm-hmm.
You get me? I remember doing stuff like that in Boca. There's schools that have done ways to dam the areas and how we could distribute water differently in SBAs. I don't see that as a far-fetched thing for the government to do. Last thing I want to say in closing, I know you got to run too.
Yeah.
There's some factions of Grenada that salute Bishop because he fought against the powers that be, or he had resistance to the powers that be. Hence, it had people from Black Panther here.
Mm-hmm.
You get me? So, them they trying to be the powers that be. Check y'all yourself.
Faru.
More time, brother.
Salute.
More time.
Folks, yeah, no, that geothermal thing, I could show you the document, and the document actually speaks to other studies that were done previously. That study had everything down to where there are fault lines, which parts of Grenada there are fault lines, where there are vents, where there are the sulfur springs and so on. That study has all that information for the entire island. Yeah, not just for around the base of Mount St. Catherine, but the entire island. And so it is quite extensive, and it leans on information dating back to the 1970s and probably even before that as well, when there were other geolithic studies that were done in different parts of Grenada. So when they say they're going and spend money to do something that do it, just take the study and work with it now, because the same areas they won't tell you that you could use again. Anyhow, but they have to wash the money somehow. They have to launder the money somehow that they're going back with the suitcases from Saudi Arabia and Dubai with. Anyway, folks, that's all. Yes, I say it, Sume. That's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. And folks, as we say, next week we're going heavy into various aspects of the 2025 budget. Heavy. We just mentioned a few last night. $30 million less for agriculture. So yeah, when it should be trying to increase the amount of agricultural production, increase the amount of food being produced so that the unit cost of the food would go down. The farmer's still making a lot of money, but the amount that you, the consumer, have to pay for it would be going down. Instead, when it check the consumer price index put out by the government themselves and they're putting it out, it's showing you that the price of foodstuff, fresh fruits and vegetables keep going up and up and up. Yet still, $30 million less for agriculture. Make that make sense. Folks, that's all the time we have for tonight, because we ain't had $2.1 million to pay for transportation, and we have to try and take it or we get it. We don't have an additional $2.1 million like the Prime Minister Ministry overspend on travel and entertainment. Yeah, we don't have that kind of money. So we have to try and get it or we get it. So that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. Whatever you say, whatever you do it safe and secure. And yeah, on that we go play that one for the speaker, man. Yeah, we go play the same song for the speaker. Yeah, the speaker. Take that one and cool it. You understand? Yeah. And whatever you say, whatever you do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. Love you all.
speaker that causing that. That same speaker, it is a fact. They say that old speaker, it have a crack. That VN speaker, rock attack.